It's a dark, stormy night on Christmas Day, 1943, and the mighty German battleship Scharnhorst, one of the Contra-Admiral Erich Bay. He's closing in on what he believes is an easy target. British merchant convoys bound for the Soviet Union. Then the bridge is suddenly lit up as star shells burst overhead. The Bay scans the horizon through driving snow, only to catch the unmistakable flash of British gun muzzles. Bay came here to fight, but not heavily armed battleships, so he orders the ship to swing 150 degrees and break away, while still trying to land hits on the British as they go. As Scharnhorst turns, her massive aft turret, Caesar, swings around and fires a salvo at the enemy. They need to outrun the Royal Navy's guns, but the British gunners are accurate and deadly. A shell slams directly into the German radar array. We've lost the radar. Keep firing. Full power to the engines. Make smoke. As the smoke screen begins pouring from Scharnhorst, another enemy shell crashes into the hull with a heavy impact. Damage report. Superficial. Full power. They won't catch us. Scharnhorst races away into the night. Without radar, the Germans are now sailing blind, and Bay reluctantly gives the order to return to port, confident he can simply outrun the pursuit. Return to port. What Bay doesn't realize is that the shadowing cruisers aren't operating alone. As the British ships track Scharnhorst, they radio out a contact report. Scharnhorst spotted course and speed, 115 degrees, speed, 28 knots. Shadowing far to the south, hidden in the darkness, waits the second half of the British trap, the main force, led by the mighty HMS Duke of York. In command is Admiral Sir Bruce Fraser, Commander-in-Chief of the Home Fleet, confirming Scharnhorst is heading directly toward his position. The trap is about to close. The enemy they've been hunting appears on radar. Surface vessel, bearing 295 range, 35,000 yards. Fraser orders Duke of York to close in slowly, stalking closer and closer. 30,000. Patience, Scharnhorst clearly has no idea they're there, plowing on through the rough Arctic swell, completely unaware she's steaming straight into engagement range. 20,000. Patience. Fraser tells his men to hold their nerve. 11,000. TAC EAM. Duke of York's enormous turrets stir to life, armed with 10 immensely powerful 14-inch main guns. Ordered Jamaica to fire star shells. Contra-Admiral Bay and his crew believe the fight is behind them. They're steaming south toward port when, without warning, another star shell bursts directly ahead, lighting the sky. Every eye on the bridge turns toward it. Fire. Duke of York unleashes a full broadside. The crew of Scharnhorst watch the sea around them explode into splashes and flying metal. A single 14-inch shell punches straight through Anton, the forward turret, killing everyone inside instantly to keep the magazine from detonating. The second forward turret, Bruno, is flooded as well. Bay realizes they're trapped. Turning back means running straight into the shadowing cruisers, so the only option left is to break east. Scharnhorst turns hard to port, returning fire with the only turret still in action. Enemy shells rain down all around her. Another 14-inch round smashes into the superstructure, setting off a major fire. The Germans then realize Bruno was never actually on fire. It had been flooded for nothing. So the order goes out to drain the magazine and bring the turret back to life. Scharnhorst takes fire from both flank and stern as Bruno is rocked by another 14-inch hit. The turret fills with smoke, and the crew is forced to evacuate it. Scharnhorst pushes on at absolute maximum speed as Caesar, her last working turret, keeps firing at the British ship. Back aboard Duke of York, Fraser is growing anxious. Scharnhorst is steadily pulling away. The ship's guns keep adjusting their aim, but an incoming salvo from Scharnhorst finds its mark. Bringing grim news. Sir, we've lost the radar. Without it, there's no way to properly correct their aim. Make repairs, fast. Lieutenant Harold Bates, working the radar shack, is already moving. He can see the antenna has drooped out of alignment. Without waiting for orders or telling anyone, he climbs straight up the mast in the middle of a snowstorm. An extraordinarily brave thing to do. Wind and snow lash at his face, and he's repeatedly thrown off balance by the blast from the main guns firing beneath him. But Bates pushes on, forcing himself upward step by step. The guns keep firing into the night, but with the German ship pulling further away, the odds of landing another hit shrink with every passing second. To Bay's relief, Scharnhorst looks like she might just slip free of the trap. The British ships now race east at full speed, desperately trying to keep pace. Meanwhile, German technicians manage to bring Bruno back online, and the turret is immediately put back into action, sending shells toward the enemy. Aboard Duke of York, Harold Bates clings to the mast as though his life depends on it, which it does. The wind tears his cap away, but he keeps his footing and keeps climbing. With tremendous effort, he finally wrestles the radar antenna back into alignment. Suddenly, the screen flickers back to life. Contact range 22,000 yards. Radar reports Scharnhorst at 22,000 yards. That's more than 10 nautical miles out, within range, but still an extremely difficult shot in these conditions. Correct and fire quickly. The guns adjust upward and fire. 14-inch shells arc up into the night sky, hang there for 30 endless seconds, then come, screaming down. One slams into Scharnhorst, punching through her thin upper belt armor before detonating inside boiler room. No one Bay is horrified. He knows immediately what this means. Damage report. Severe loss of steam. We've dropped to 8 knots. It isn't enough. Already resigned to what's coming. S managed to coax the ship back up to 22 knots, but it's still not enough. Her reduced speed now leaves her wide open to torpedo attacks. British destroyers close in from the north to join the main force. Scharnhorst is now completely surrounded. Focus on the destroyers. Don't let them get closer. Scharnhorst's 15-centimeter secondary guns target one of the 4 approaching destroyers, but there are simply too many of them to make their run and release 8 torpedoes at Scharnhorst. One finds its mark, rocking the battleship violently. Then the remaining 2 destroyers make their own run, firing 12 more torpedoes. One strikes port side. 3 more slam into starboard in rapid succession. The ship shudders and groans, taking on water fast, slowing further to just 10 knots. Launch torpedoes. Bay orders Scharnhorst to turn and attempt a torpedo run of her own, but the ship is too badly wounded. Only a single torpedo manages to launch, and it misses entirely. Surrounded on all sides, Scharnhorst is pounded into submission. Her secondary guns keep firing regardless. Even with the ship ablazee and completely boxed in, the crew keeps fighting to the very end. The Caesar turret, the first to open fire in the entire battle, manages to land one more hit on a destroyer before the British ships surge forward for a final point-blank torpedo strike. 5 torpedoes detonate against Scharnhorst's hull. Caesar, her last active turret, is finally silenced. Water pours through the many gaping holes in her side, and the ship begins to list heavily, still standing on the bridge as it tilts sharply beneath him. Bay finally accepts that it's over and gives the order to abandon ship. Admiral Fraser watches from a distance as the great Kriegsmarine battleship rolls over in her final moments. Her bow slips beneath the waves, lifting the stern skyward, propellers still slowly turning even as she goes under. Fraser would later tell his men, "Gentlemen, the battle against Scharnhorst has ended in victory for us. I hope that any of you superior opponent will fight your ship as gallantly as Scharnhorst was fought today." Of Scharnhorst's 1,968-man crew, only 36 were pulled alive from the freezing water. Contra-Admiral Eric Bay was not among them. To watch another epic naval engagement, click the link and see the story of a destroyer that rammed a U-boat and left its crew stranded in the water.